Yes, welcome to The Run-In. Welcome back to the reaction show by this strange anonymous pool in Los Angeles. And it's not a pool party without a man in a three-piece suit. That man today is Ariel Helwani. He has also been at the SoFi Stadium watching night 2 of WrestleMania. Your first impressions. We haven't talked about what we think about the show yet.
First of all, it's a 2-piece. Just for the record, there's no 3, so I just wanted to
I can't work it out.
Record to show that it's a 2-piece. Second of all, this is very fun. I feel like we're about to get married, and you're the groom, I'm the bride, and we're not talking until we make it to the altar. Because specifically, when I saw you, I said I don't want to hear your thoughts, and then you said I want it to be fresh because we're all wondering.
You also told me to take off my wedding dress. You didn't want to see that before the show.
That's a little TMI.
Apologies.
Because of the finish. Roman Reigns still the undisputed champ. So I guess it's now 945 days. By the time you watch this, he defeats Cody Rhodes in a shocker. And so can I start? Because I have a lot to say about this.
Please do.
I would have bet my house. I would have bet my mortgage. I even said it to Cody himself. And then, of course, later Roman was upset that I said it. And maybe I should have listened to him. I would have bet anything that Cody was the one. We all said, if not him, who, right? He signs, he returns. Last year, the whole story, finished the story. His father never wins. This has to be it. And ultimately, what I want out of pro wrestling is unpredictability. I hate when pro wrestling is predictable. And this couldn't have been any more unpredictable, right? And so ultimately, I love it. I love everything about it because it seemed like, oh yeah, the Usos lose on Saturday and now Roman's gonna lose and it's the bloodline in shambles, right? It was all perfect. But what do we love about sports? The unpredictableness of sports, if that's even a word. And this is unpredictable. The Usos lost, but he retains. Cody was supposed to win, but he loses. I actually thought I was gonna hate it, and now I adore it. How about you?
I think I saw it in about 3 different minds. And my initial reaction was, oh, okay, fair enough. I was like, oh, same as you, unpredictable. I was like, this is brilliant. They've genuinely shocked me. Then I was thinking, hold on a second. How many almost amazing moments are we going to get? The payoff is going to have to be pretty big. Then I was distracted by a man who was literally punching the floor. He was so angry, and I thought, oh, this is brilliant. I'm back on board again. I think you say it's like the unpredictability, but there has been a sort of predictability about these matches. It's pretty much a good match for about 25 minutes, then the Usos or Solo Sikoa get involved, and then Roman ultimately leaves the winner. There's that which I think they possibly need to move on from that formula a little bit. Maybe the Usos losing those titles means that can maybe become a thing of the past. The bloodline has to change perhaps going forward. Maybe it's just Solo Sikoa from now on. I know the Usos interfered in the main event tonight, but as an actual moment, I had mixed feelings, but I was pleased that it was unpredictable.
Yeah, and if you would have told me on Thursday Roman's retaining, I would have been like, oh, that's kind of a bummer. Because again, if not him, who? Who other than Cody at this point, right?
I'll ask you, who? Who do you think?
I honestly don't think, I can't think of one. I guess the silver lining in all of this is, did you hear that pop when Sami and KO came out? Deafening, right? Unbelievable. And so maybe this leaves the door to Sami finally getting that belt and finishing that story with Roman. There are a ton of options here, but I love the fact that it seemed like everyone thought, all right, this is fait accompli. It's going to be, Cody winning. And part of me does feel for Cody because we know how much this meant to him. And it doesn't mean he doesn't win it next month or the month after, or maybe it's at SummerSlam. Maybe it's in London at Money in the Bank. Who the hell knows? But I just love how unpredictable it was, right? That to me is what makes wrestling fun. And that's honestly why I stopped watching in the early 2000s, because I found it to be too predictable. So I love everything about it, and it makes me intrigued to see where they go from here.
I think the 1,000-day landmark is May 27th, give or take a day. I think that's the 1,000-day landmark. You have to feel like he's going to get there now, regardless of whatever. That must be something that they want to focus on and make a figurehead moment for the company. We've got a champion who's been there for 1,000 days. When do you think it changes? Because it feels, even now, it's not been, the title hasn't changed hands tonight at WrestleMania. Now you think, well, it can't change hands until WrestleMania 40. You look at the big WrestleMania 40, round number, big event. You think maybe that's the occasion.
A whole other year.
Yeah.
I mean, what a run that would be. And honestly, you hear him get on the microphone beforehand and he says, WrestleMania, acknowledge me. Do you hear that? That noise, right? Could you imagine Roman Reigns getting that kind of reaction 5 years ago, 4 years ago, right? So they've got a great thing going, and ultimately what I love, in addition to how unpredictable it was, go down the line, starting with Roman Reigns, the belts mean something. They all feel very important, right? From his belt to Gunther, I know we're going to get to him, to the women's belts as well, to the tag titles yesterday, headlining night one. There is no belt on the roster, correct me if you feel otherwise, that feels unimportant, that feels like a throwaway, that feels just kind of like a thing, like a trinket on a table or on a mantle. And that to me is very important, because there was a time not that long ago where everything from the Universal to the heavyweight to the tag titles to the IC was just getting passed around on regular Raws or SmackDowns. That's a big problem in my opinion. I'm a big fan in combat sports and MMA and boxing of long-standing champions, right? Like when Anderson Silva had the belt for a very long time, people were like, oh, he's, we need a new champion. I'm like, no, stay at 85 and defend that belt for the next 12 years. And this kind of reminds me of something like that, and I don't hate it.
Cody was such a massive fan favorite in this. The atmosphere for that match, it was, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, I feel like that's the most engaged a crowd has been for a WrestleMania main event for a long time. If we take strictly the Sunday main events, it's the 2-day era, I think that's the most engaged they've been in that main event. It was quite a quick show as well. We got to the main event, I think it was coming up to 8 o'clock local time, and so there hadn't been this huge long event beforehand, which I think sometimes has damaged WrestleMania main events. Is that a testament to just how popular Cody is and how much of a future and how much of a candidate he is to eventually end that reign? That he had the crowd that with him. There wasn't that sort of cynical level of support that sometimes the heel gets, sometimes the face get. It was very much, these are our two biggest stars, and this is the one we want to win. And that's what it sounded like in that stadium.
I agree. I mean, just look at the reaction tonight and compare it to the reaction last year on the Sunday of WrestleMania Night 2. Like, that was not...
the biggest WrestleMania match of all time.
Yeah, come on. It wasn't.
Please call it its proper name.
I think people felt like that was just sort of there, And this one, we were on pins and needles. Is it finally going to happen? Is he finally going to lose? Is Cody finally going to get his moment? I mean, we have to give them a lot of credit. There were no real stinkers on the card tonight, last night. It all culminated in this moment. And when it was up in the air, I mean, even when things were looking like, all right, everything's going in Roman's favor, this looks like, the typical Roman win. It's like, there's no way, something's going to happen. Is it going to be Rock? Is it going to be the... And then he ends up winning, and it's like a genuine... To me, it feels like the most like genuine, oh my God moment, like your mouth open, your eyes wide, since the Taker lost to Brock Lesnar, right? Where you didn't think there was any chance that he was going to lose to Brock Lesnar and the streak would end. And here, I felt like we got a similar reaction. But to your point, Cody is so popular right now. He is so over, as they say in the business. Like the singing with his music, the intros. By the way, the ring announcer, Samantha Irvin, she did a fantastic job with that. Like the whole thing felt big, right? It felt important. Just an amazing scene. Really excited, and feel very privileged to have been there to witness it live.
You've mentioned pins and needles, and my mind immediately went to poor old Finn Balor's head. Oh my gosh. Who in the middle of the match had to get stitches and injections on that sort of 7 or 8 inch wound on the top of his head in the Hell in a Cell match with Edge. Start from the beginning, the entrances for that were something else, weren't it?
Oh my God, the Demon is one of my favorite entrances, like the dun, 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 like the way he interacts with the music. Tremendous stuff, and I was very happy for Finn Balor because, as I said, I think on Wednesday, I was bummed for him. He's one of my favorites, and I was bummed for him that he wasn't on WrestleMania, that he was on the SmackDown before, and I feel like he deserves to be in a big match, and this felt like a big match. It felt like an important match for him. The Judgment Day are doing great things, obviously, with Dominic and Rhea as well. And, I couldn't help but wonder if at the end of that match, and you saw Edge being a little, emotional, if that maybe was his last WrestleMania match, right? If the rumors are correct that he may retire in August in Toronto, that would be it for him. And what a run. If so, we get the Brood Edge coming back, strong performance out of him, so well done to him. We'll see what happens, but that could have been his last one, and that's a pretty big deal.
Have you got any problems with the Demon version of Finn Balor losing? It's meant to have a sort of... aura of invincibility about it, hasn't it?
Yeah, I would have preferred him to win. I feel like he needs the win more than Edge, if you ask me. So I would have gone in that direction. I was a little surprised, I'm not going to lie. How about you?
I don't think I was surprised. I think WrestleMania quite often, until the main event, you get the sort of traditional good guy beating the bad guy, right? The payoff for the story makes sense. I almost wonder why they used the Demon, but then it was a Hell in a Cell match at WrestleMania, right? So I get it, and I think it's a shame that it doesn't have that aura of invincibility anymore. But I think even speaking to Finn, he doesn't want to use that character all the time, and this was a special occasion. The story kind of had to end how it ended, because you can't have it ending with the guy who put Edge out injured coming over on top. But yeah, I think for the event, it was perfect, and the crowd was so into it.
Yeah,
with like you did, your demonstration of it with the song. Yeah, this is exactly how it sounded in the arena. The acoustics in there.
No, it's great.
I hope we get your version of it next year.
Yes, I don't want to go so long, because if you sing for too long on YouTube, I think they monetize.
Yeah, the copyright machines are definitely picking that one up.
It sounded
it's so
similar.
Yeah. Shazam would have had a field day. Let's talk about Bianca Belair and Asuka. We knew they'd put on a great match. Probably with Charlotte Flair, I would say the most talented women on the roster.
Yeah.
You spoke to Bianca afterwards. How was she feeling?
Yeah, she was very pleased with her performance. She said she was super nervous going into this one for a few reasons. Obviously, this is her third straight WrestleMania with a win, big match. Sasha Banks 2 years ago, Becky Lynch last year, so always in a big spot. She's undefeated, 3-0 in these spots, so kudos to her. But she said 2 years ago she was nervous, then last year she was nervous about topping it, and this year she was especially nervous because it was her first time on night 2. Last 2 times she was on night 1, get it out of the way. This time she had to watch everyone, including her husband, Montez Ford, have a match on night 1 and then come back on night 2. But she said that she was very pleased with it. The entrance was great, right? And this also concludes a great year for her. It was exactly 1 year today that she beat Becky Lynch at WrestleMania, and she's had a lot of opponents, but this was the right call, if you ask me. Like I said, I think on Thursday or Wednesday, they have so much invested in her. She's one of the faces of their women's division, and I would have been very surprised. We were talking to one of our colleagues, Sam, and he was like, oh, of course, it has to be Asuka. And I was like, no, I don't think it has to be Asuka, and I would be very surprised if it's Asuka, and of course, I was right, and he was wrong.
Yeah, she is on everything. I think even in the hype package before the match, you see her doing all her appearances, and that is something that a role that she's undertaken. Really, one of the main appearance makers, I guess, however you want to call them, in the roster. And as the champion, she's everywhere with that belt all the time, and WWE clearly very pleased to have her as a representative of them.
Yeah, they have I think a reality show with her and her husband as well. I'm still waiting for the Montez push. I feel like he has earned it. He has earned that. I know I'm going on a tangent here, but you look at the women's division right now with Bianca and Rhea as champs, and obviously, like, you have Charlotte, not a champ, Becky, not a champ, Bayley obviously still in the mix, Asuka in the mix as well. We saw the showcase, like Ronda's not even anywhere near the title picture right now, not to mention the other women who are in that match. So it's pretty damn strong. Dare I say, strongest it's ever been, close to strongest it's ever been. I know Sasha's not here and everyone loves her, but pretty damn strong right now.
How did you feel about Snoop Dogg, the greatest improviser of all time?
Snoop Dogg might have been my MVP of tonight, honestly.
What a save he pulled off. I mean,
blown away.
Poor old.
Well, can we explain it? Can we explain it to the people? Go ahead.
The Miz comes down. Obviously, last night, who was it he ended up facing? Pat McAfee comes down. Snoop Dogg makes the match. The same thing happens tonight, but this time it's Shane O'Mac, who, 53 years old, comes out, shuffles and dances his way at the ring, jumps over the rope, jumps over Miz.
Yes, but you're going over one, like, this is Shane McMahon coming back after all the rumors that he and his father Vince had this big falling out. Like, I would have picked 100 people to show up before Shane, right? Last time we saw him was at Royal Rumble 2 years ago, 2021. That was a legit surprise. Do you agree? Were you shocked when the music hit?
I was, but how many times has he come back?
I know, but this one felt different. But it seems like everyone's coming back these days in the McMahon family, so who the hell knows? All right, go ahead.
The door is open.
The door is open.
Anyway, Shane O'Mac jumps over Miz's head. Wow, fantastic. 53-year-old man, what an athlete. Upon landing, less so successful. Less successful. It was very clear very quickly that something
felt so bad
went
for
wrong
him
there.
Because he had said right before how much the reception meant to him, right? I'm sure there was a part of him at the time when he left the company, if he ever, he wondered if he'd ever get a quote unquote pop like that. And then for seconds later, that to happen, and Triple H said at the post-event press conference that he tore his quad, which is just absolutely brutal. Triple H would know about that. His father would know something about that as well. Just devastating stuff. But then to your point, all of a sudden, you see Miz trying to see, like, what do I do here? And Snoop Dogg, who, we don't know if he just did the actual finish and they expedited it, or if someone told him to come in there, but holy smokes, he freaking saved the day. I mean, it was seamless what he did.
Yeah, and everybody seemed to love it, especially when he pulls out the people's LA bow. There we go.
You came up with that on the spot.
Yeah, I saw the DJ before the show do a cool hand sign with LA, and now I've been thinking of LA puns all night, and
that
that's
DJ's
it.
a cool guy, Valentino Khan. Shout out to him.
Yeah,
that's my guy.
Hell of a job. He's been doing lots of teasing other comebacks that didn't happen, but one that did, Shane O'Mac, but he won't be coming back anytime soon, as he unfortunately got injured.
Yeah, I'm very sorry to hear that, and see that as well. But yeah, I mean, honestly, what Snoop, who's not a performer in that regard, right, not a wrestler, what he's able to do and to kind of save that segment and end it on a high note, because it was
the
very
sunglasses
depressing,
instead of the elbow.
So much there. Shout out to Snoop Dogg. He still got it. He still got it.
Let's talk about the match that opened the show. My pick for, I thought it was going to be the match of the weekend. I'm a very, very upset Homo sapien tonight.
Yes. I thought you were upset with the match. You enjoyed the match.
No, I loved the match. I think it was the
complete non-factor of a match, as predicted.
But everyone loved it.
And
They got the show going.
The wrong guy won.
Yeah, probably the wrong guy won. But
and how
he had to get back to the
that?
plane. He had to get back to. We said
God.
last night, didn't we?
He got the John Cena role.
There was a bet between them who can get home quicker. I imagine, what's the time now? So it's about 11 o'clock, so he finished that match about
He's in bed in
5 hours
Saskatchewan
ago.
right now.
He is probably there.
What a gig, right? Listen, I actually have no problem with him starting, and I have no problem with John Cena starting the show yesterday. But who needs that win more? Could you imagine if Almost beats him up and does some crazy move? Like, what was the point? Does Brock need that win? Does he need that dominant victory? Like, it's great to see him F5 him. It's great to see him do that to a guy as big as Omos. But this is why I wasn't excited about the match, because I kind of felt like it was going to go this way. And if so, what's the point?
Well, I got everything I wanted except
You did?
the Omos win.
You wanted, yeah. Well,
I wanted a 4.5 minute match
that would have been a shocker.
of people throwing people around. That is what we got. We just didn't get the win.
We didn't get the win, but let me tell you something. A match that I kind of had low expectations for, but was just absolutely amazing in my opinion, was the Gunther.
You had low expectations
I had
for
low
that.
expectations.
I was leaving that to last because I thought that was generally considered a Helwaniism, the people's main event.
No, not for me.
It wasn't beforehand.
No, people's main event. Here's the thing. Can I tell you something? I came up with the people's main event. I just want to let everyone know. Look it up on Urban Dictionary. It's me. It says that I came up with it. My name is on there. I'll show you. Point is, a common mistake. People think that the main event can't be the people's main event. Sometimes the main event is the people's main event. So obviously tonight, the main event was the people's main event. I don't love triple threats. And after Gunther told me himself on Thursday that he doesn't like triple threat, I was kind of like, comme ci, comme ça. He's not going to bring it. They all brought it. That was incredible stuff, right? Physical, compelling. Thought Sheamus would get it. Thought Drew would get it. Gunther retains. Rookie of the year.
Absolutely. Do you think he was the right man to get it as well?
1000%. Again, talking about the main event, he has made that belt feel important, feel big. Whenever he loses, it's going to be a big deal, just like Roman, right? That wasn't really the case last year. I mean, top of my head right now, I'm sure if I think about it long enough, do you even remember what the IC title match was last year at Mania?
They didn't have one, did they? Wasn't it on the Friday night?
Well, there you go. There's my point. Yes, I think you're right. Was it Ricochet?
I think it might have been.
Sheesh. Listen, I mean, just that says it all, right?
Yeah.
Look out, he's made that belt feel important. I mean, even Sheamus's struggle to get that belt has made it feel important, right? And I kind of hope he gets it at some point, but I can understand why he didn't get it tonight. I love that match. That was great. And great scene afterwards that I think only the house saw, they say in the business. Drew and Sheamus together.
The lights were down for that moment, but yeah, Drew picked up Sheamus. Big old hug for two guys that have been on the road together for 20 years in the ring. Made it to WrestleMania. A similar kind of story to Sammy and Kevin in a way. Yeah, and that was great. And then walked up the ramp to ramped together to a standing ovation, and they deserved it, because the match, I'm surprised you weren't expecting it to be as good as it was. I thought it was exactly what it was always going to be. It was probably the most physical match of the two days. 3 guys that we know can put on amazing shows every time they're asked to put on a big match. Sheamus has said it himself. He puts on banger after banger after banger after banger. Gunther nearly said it. Gunther's got look, whatever your metric for rating wrestling matches, Gunther's got 5-star matches all over the place, and Drew has obviously carried that title through the pandemic era. He's a genuine main eventer, and brought the star power. I just thought they delivered, and I'm not surprised at all, but it still was even better than I thought it was.
Yeah, and I love that the young guy, I mean, I know he's not actually that young, but I love that he was in there with the veterans, and he came across as the biggest star, in my opinion. I'm a huge fan of his, and I'm very curious to see. And it's sort of like the Roman one. Who's the one that's going to beat him, right? But the belt feels important, and that's the most important thing. And
he felt like a huge deal when they walked him down to the ring as
well.
Oh,
yeah. Legend. Love him. And he looks fantastic. Holy smokes. I want to be on that diet. Fantastic.
All right, then. So for the 2 nights, MVP.
One for the 2 nights?
For the 2 nights.
That's tough,
because tonight
man.
is Snoop Dogg.
Tonight is Snoop Dogg. I don't know, man. One? I have to pick one? Do you have one? You asked the question. I'm going to go with 2. I'm going to go with Sammy and KO.
And Kevin, yeah.
The team. The pop that they got, the sound when they ran in tonight was, I mean, those guys are so popular right now. It's unbelievable, and it's a great story, and I can't wait to see where they go with that, with the Usos, with Roman. The one thing I can't stop thinking about, if I'm being honest, who beats Roman? How does this end? This time next year, going into Mania, we're in Philadelphia, we're doing the run-in, we're previewing WrestleMania 40. Is he the champion?
Yeah.
He is the champion?
I think so.
Wow. And who's he going up against?
Cody.
Again?
Finish the story.
We're going to go through this for another year?
I think so.
Oh, my God. Lord have mercy. Another year
We've
of
only
this?
done chapter 1.
Oh, it's exhausting. Emotionally exhausting.
Who do you think?
I don't know. I honestly, Gunther on Thursday told us that it was going to be him. I don't know if that's going to happen.
One of them's got to become good, though.
Exactly. I honestly don't know. Is it The Rock? Are we going to do this for another year?
No, it can't be The Rock. It cannot be The Rock.
WrestleMania 40 is perfect.
The Rock is not coming back to Philadelphia.
I honestly don't know. Maybe it's MJF. Someone who's not on the roster.
Booting open the forbidden door.
Oh, my gosh. I really don't know. And maybe that's the fun part about it all, right? Listen, we're both combat sports fans. Are we sitting around saying, like, who's going to be the one that's going to beat this guy or that guy? No, like, someone emerges, right? Kamaru Usman was the champion. Leon Edwards walked in and head kicked him. Like, someone emerges, and I think that's what wrestling should be. That's what it should strive to be. But I look at the roster, like, he's beaten everyone at this point, and that doesn't mean that he can't lose to Cody. Like, this is not the end of the Cody story, right? But if I would have to hold out hope for someone, I would love to see Sammy get that moment.
I was thinking maybe Jay.
Oh, golly.
Because I feel like if you're treating it as the story, the Bloodline story,
could you
Jay makes the most sense, right? The only thing I think sometimes with WrestleMania you get bogged down in who's the most famous, right? That is often what affects the main event. But the story, Jay.
This is like the emoji with the fire coming out of the head. Yeah, I didn't really think of that. There's no real friction right now between them. Maybe a little bit.
There can be, because it's all the Sammy and Kevin stuff is about Jay.
The whole thing comes together, All right, we'll see. So your prediction, WrestleMania 40 Philadelphia, Roman versus Jay.
I don't think that would be WrestleMania.
Oh, okay.
I think if it goes to WrestleMania, it's going to be Cody again. If he loses it before WrestleMania, it's going to be Jay. Right. And if he loses it before WrestleMania, at WrestleMania we get Rock Roman. No title.
Stop it.
The Rock is definitely coming back.
Oh, my God.
One more year of speculation.
Yes.
Ariel,
yes.
It's been a joy to have you this week in LA. Cheers to the lads, and thank you very much for watching everything that this man's done, the BT team have done. WrestleMania is over. We are out, and we will see you very soon.